Hi,
Hi.
welcome back. With 2.7 and 3.0 drawing closer, we're getting some crazy new characters like Sunday, and of course the brand new path characters like Leia and Remembrance TB. Excitement for Star Rail is at an all-time high and deservedly so. The 3.0 update is not only going to be incredibly fun gameplay-wise, but also story-wise because it's all about Greek mythology. Speaking of gameplay, however, while the Remembrance path is one of the greatest things to happen to Star Rail, because it might mean we'll get even more mechanics and paths in the future, there's one specific thing I'm worried about when talking about the Remembrance path specifically. The path system exists in the game to mostly decide which role the character plays in a team, and which endgame modes you can use this character in most effectively, and in most cases the characters stick to their path rules. However, the Remembrance path doesn't have a specific role it plays in the party, and there's a little problem with that. So, today's discussion is about Remembrance. What the hell is a summon role? Before we start, you should like, comment, subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the Express Run Discord server for a fun Star Rail community to interact with, and to always get the latest news about the new characters and updates. On your way down there, I'm trying to reach 2,500 subs before the end of the year, so I'd appreciate it if you help me get there. Make sure to remember to subscribe. Now let's get on to it. So besides Acheron and few kinda, most characters in the game, as I said earlier, follow their individual paths as boundaries, and most of the time you'll be able to tell at a first glance what any character's best teams and best matchups are going to be. Destruction characters are high survivability berserkers that usually deal damage to 3 targets. They're mostly hyper carry DPS characters, so units like Sunday and Sparkle are best for them most of the time. Hunt units are relatively squishy characters that deal single target damage, and the most important ones mostly deal with follow-up attacks, since this specific mechanic works to negate the weakness of the Hunt path, which is being single target. Their best teammates are usually each other, along with Aventurine and Robin to complete the team. Our addition are AoE damage dealers that all make pure fiction seem like a walk in the park. They also deal with FUA just like Hunt, but they deal less single target damage and more AoE damage to deal with pure fiction. While there are definitely more than one or two specific roles these characters can play, like Misha, Moza, March, Topaz, and Jade all being sub-DPS support characters who each buff allies or debuff enemies, they still make sense to be in their specific paths instead of being Nihility or Harmony, because they are DPS characters at the end of the day. But there is a problem with the foundation of the Remembrance path because a character being Remembrance doesn't necessarily give us much info about what role they'll play in the party. So, most of us know that the Remembrance path is going to be the summon path, which means every character in this path is going to have a summon. They're most likely going to be simply DPS summons. I don't expect them to have any healer or buffer summons, but there is still a wide variety of things they can be. According to the info we have, summon units, and units being the summons themselves and not the actual characters summoning these summons, can deal anything from break damage to normal damage to DOT damage. From Death of the Crumb of DOT damage, that means that we will not only most likely get a summon that focuses on DOT, but other than that there will definitely be summons that deal single target, multi-target, and AoE attacks. You can't really expect them all to do the same type of thing. Some are going to act like destruction units, while others are going to act like Hunt inevitably. However, the problem lies in the fact that we don't know what they're going to do outside of looking at their leaks or watching the most successful content creators who got paid by Hoyo to leak their characters a couple of days ahead of time. Players who just look at the drip marketing and see a Remembrance unit still don't know what these units are going to do, as opposed to looking at an erudition unit and instantly having a general idea of what they will do. Hell, even us in the Express Run Discord servers still don't know what a Glay and Remembrance DB summons are going to specifically do. They could be DOT, single target, or AoE damage dealers. We don't know. The problem is that Remembrance, or having a summon unit, is not a party role, and the path system exists to mostly specify the party role whatever unit is going to have. This Remembrance role breaks all of that down, even though the path system already has a couple problems, mainly Acheron, who should have been more of a destruction than a Nihility character. They most likely just made her Nihility because she's a Nihility Emanator. I mean, the whole Nihility path has an identity crisis, but at least every character in Nihility has a kit centered around debuffs. However, if Remembrance units aren't united under a single umbrella that gives them a specific party role, then this problem will just get bigger, and who's to say if we ever get another path it won't get even bigger. I mean, we already have all the options a unit could be. We have Berserkers, AoE damage dealers, single target damage dealers, buffers, debuffers, healers, and shielders. There's no other role that they could add that won't have a couple problems that follow behind it. By the way, don't get me wrong, Star Rail getting another path not only keeps the game fresh for now, which means we'll have a lot more fun, but also means we may get more paths in the future, which is incredible, but if there's going to be a new problem with every new path, then it'll become kinda ridiculous. What I suggest to fix this problem is a couple things, each with their own problems. The first one is that Remembrance characters' summon units should only have one type of attacks, either AoE or single target. The advantage with this is that they don't really need to do anything special to make the Remembrance path make sense. It won't have any role identification problems by making them do, let's say, only splash attacks. The Remembrance path gets a specific role outside of simply having a summon. The problem with this is that not only would they be incredibly similar to characters from paths we already have, since they would just be reskin destruction or hunt characters, for example, with the reskin being a summon, but all of them dealing simply splash attacks or single target attacks would definitely get a little boring, since we already have a path that just does that. Instead, they could all have one specific role, for example that of a sub DPS specifically, which has more advantages but also its own problems. The first is that they will be able to be used in any team out there depending on the type of damage they do, its frequency, and the buffs they could provide as a sub DPS, which means that depending on their synergies, they could revive all their units and mechanics, and make team building more versatile and overall promote a healthier meta. DOT could be easily revived with a powerful summon unit that deals a lot of DOT damage, and Hyper Carry could be revived by a sub DPS that buffs up the Hyper Carry unit a lot by either buffing them directly for someone like Jingli or Danhangayel, or debuffing the enemies for someone like Acheron, while also dealing a sizable amount of damage themselves. However, having a whole path for sub DPS characters only is a little weird, especially since we already have sub DPS units that are from several different paths. Again, those are March 7th, Moza, Topaz, Jade, Misha, and any others I may have forgotten. The only thing that these characters would be different from the ones we already have is, again, their summons. Having them as sub DPSs only is also very likely, since we have Sunday who focuses on buffing up summon units and advancing their summons action forward, which means at least some of them are definitely going to be main DPS characters. Another solution is to make each of the Remembrance characters' summons have a specific path that they follow. For example, Aglaia summon is Destruction, having a Berserker playstyle, and having high survivability, while Remembrance TB's summon is a buffer or debuffer, following Harmony or Nihility. However, I do think this is unlikely, 1, because we don't have any info regarding summons having a different path than their summoners, and 2, it doesn't really follow the lore, since Amphorius is supposed to be Aeonless or something, although most characters in the gameplay already don't follow the actual path that they do in the lore, so overall it's not that big of a deal. I think that this last solution is the best overall, but I doubt they're going to specify this whatsoever. If they did, they would have done that in the drip marketing or the live stream, which they didn't. Maybe they'll do it in the next live stream, which I do hope for. If we can specify what these characters can do before the players decide to bull for them, I think it'd be great. And yes, guides are a thing, sure, but I think it would simply make things easier. It wouldn't really be hard to do either, it would simply be putting a label on something that already is whatever it is. They wouldn't have to do anything special here. If Remembrance TB is a buffer, then they say they're a Remembrance unit with a playstyle similar to a Harmony character. So, that's it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think Remembrance should have a hyper-specific role like multi-target DPS, or is it fine if they can do literally whatever they want and they count as Remembrance, as long as they have a summon? In the end, it's really not that big of a deal, I'm just yapping here, but it could also get exaggerated if we ever get another path. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join the Express Join Discord server for more discussions just like this, and any updates and news about the Remembrance path, and any upcoming updates and characters. Remember to subscribe because I'm trying to reach 2,500 subs before the end of the year, and I'd really appreciate it if you are part of the journey. Thank you again, and I will see you next time.